Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. Yes, this is one of those chilly mornings in Minnesota, but I decided that since it wasn't snowing, I'd come out here in this nature scene and film this particular video. I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, why you should listen to me when I talk to you about the things that I talk to you about as spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Basic human rights. That means you, ladies and gentlemen. To speak to you about those basic human rights from a perspective of that creation, that process whereby you were decided on, whereby you came into existence, whereby the requirements for your continued existence had already been made, set up, and all you had to do was work and act in the form what we call natural, normal. It was built in how to live, how to have peace and prosperity and freedom and joy in your life and your dreams being fulfilled, your needs, your wants, and your desires being at your control, and that with the resources outside of yourselves that would be required to do anything, your Creator has already made available to you, whether it's in the earth, whether it's on the earth, or whether it's above the earth, whether it's seen or whether it's unseen. It's all here. And whatever your mind can conjure up, there is enough ability scattered throughout the human process to engage it and cause a manifestation of whatever you put your hands to. And this, my friends, would make sure that you never live any at all without the security of food and clothing and shelter and education and healthcare. And that magnificent Creator made sure that this would always be met, that the accessibility would always be there, because everyone in one form or another would benefit from the creation at the hands of man. And because of that, each one would be given a gift, something that they could engage that gives them their greatest joy in doing. And yet that particular gift works together with all of the rest of the gifts to cause a creation in the reservoir of goods and services, all of those things that you can imagine, in such an abundance that not one human being, not just in America, but on the face of the earth, would be lacking anything. In other words, you would be living here on this earth as if you were in heaven. Now, that is the power, that is the message that I speak to the American people. And I do that because I have been given what most of you have not been given. I am one of the few Americans, and probably one of the few people on the face of the earth, that has been given knowledge that I just shared with you, that would make it available and make it real, so that we can do all that we do without lying, without cheating, without stealing, without killing, without terror, without racism, without hatred, without bigotry, without crime and violence, without poverty. How many people can answer that? How many people can answer that, black or white, men or women? I'm not trying to say I'm put above you. I'm not. You know, God gives knowledge to those that God wants to give knowledge to. There are some that can go out in the stratosphere, all out in the galaxies, and talk about billions of light years away from here, how to even pinpoint something that's going to happen maybe 100 years from now. I don't have that kind of knowledge, and I guarantee you very few of us do. But yet there are those that have that knowledge. And that knowledge is disseminated because that's the way God has planned it to be. Now, I don't know why we as people just don't understand. The only thing I can see is this: if it was given to us from the beginning, and we don't have it today, or we can't express it today, it is because we have been taught a different way of living. And that's not hard. We have been taught the way of men. And why have we been taught the way of men? We have been taught the way of men because God is invisible. And for some strange reason, there is something in people, some people, that says if you can't put your hands on it, if you can't touch it, it must not exist. And since it does not exist, then I will claim that position. I will claim the title. I will be God. And this is what they've done. All over the world, where every government exists, it exists in lieu of the government of God. It doesn't matter whether it's capitalism and democracy, whether it's socialism, or whether it's communism, whether it's dictatorships. Every last one of them says their way is the best way and not God. Now, the reason that they say not God is because they don't know God's way. Now, you got people who have been talking about God's way ever since we've been talking about anything else. But they've just been talking. See, God's way does not allow for compromise. God's way is righteous and it is truth. It does not allow for compromise. When you have compromise, that's when you're having the expressions of men's ideas. That's when you get Republican and Democrat talking about something that concerns the same person, Republican perspective, Democratic perspective, to affect a individual's life or a group of people's lives. And each one of them got different ideas that it affect them in a counter way. You benefit from one on the one hand maybe, but not on the other. You benefit from the other on one hand, but not on the other. In other words, you're always left deficient. You're always needing something. You're always wanting something that's not available to you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a reality that you might want to deny racism. You might want to deny slavery, but you cannot deny what keeps us bound every day. Now, when God created this earth and wanted us to live the way I just got through articulating, the way to do that was for everybody. It's the same way you got a husband and a wife, two people. They express themselves in a certain kind of way to survive. You get 2 extra kids. You express yourself in a certain kind of way to survive. You get 12 kids, 21 kids. You express yourself in a certain kind of way to survive. Nothing really changes. It's just what you were doing. Now you do a little bit more of it because it serves a greater purpose. It requires more of you. And it involves more people, but it at the same time take away the stress. Why? Because now the responsibility is spread as well. That's the same way with 1, 2, 24, or 8 billion. It's the same identical thing. Everybody on earth has a gift, something to participate. What is the difference between Basil, or whatever this guy's name is, he's a billionaire, and a guy that cleans a toilet? What's the difference as far as life is concerned? Now, I'm not talking about what actually happens, because we know what actually happens. The man that's cleaning a toilet is struggling, trying his best to survive. The billionaire is doing the same thing, but his survival means getting more billions and getting more billions. And every billion that he gets means that the people down between are losing billions. Maybe not one person, but between them, they're losing the billions because they're being robbed by a system that is legal, but immoral. The things that I talk to you about, ladies and gentlemen, is about morality. It's about making righteousness the order of the day. Today, when we get up out of our bed, until the time we go back to bed, what are we thinking about? What is the number one concern on our mind? Making money. Making money. Is it making peace? No. Peace might get in the way of making money. This is why people can cause a disturbance between 2 different groups of people and sell guns to each group. It's not about peace, it's about making money. When you start thinking about joy of life, when you start talking about the suffering, it isn't about that, it's about making money. That's the way of the American, that's the way of the human mind as it has been conditioned and reshaped. And this is what we have. Yesterday they had the election, I think, or the day before. And where Republicans won, they said they won because people were rejecting what the Democrats offer. Now, we know that the Republicans got nothing different to offer than what they offered before. They got nothing different to offer than what they have been offering. This is Republican and Democrat. They have nothing to offer other than what they've been offering us your entire life. And the peace you've never experienced in your entire life. The prosperity as a nation of people, you never experienced it in your entire life. The freedom, the joy of life, you never experienced in your entire life. And everybody, Republican and Democrat, men and women, black and white, keep promising this. And they mean well. They just don't know how to do it. They just are not connected to the source that makes this possible, that will give you the appropriate information. Now, the information is not going to make you change your mind, because I can speak to you in English. You understand what I'm saying. You might not want to go that way. Just because I change it to French and start speaking it to you, you definitely not going to understand now. So if you don't understand peace, if you don't understand prosperity and freedom and the joy of life, if you don't understand what makes these things, and so when I talk to you about them, it doesn't mean anything to you. You think I'm a con artist because your faith is in money. Your faith is in what you've been taught to believe in. And I'm not trying to knock that. I mean, it's real, ladies and gentlemen. But what I'm trying to get you to see is where it's leading you. It's leading you down a path of destruction today that wasn't as bad yesterday. Oh, it was worse before then. But see, you didn't learn from your past. So you're now in the process of repeating what you've gone through before. And the ugliness, you didn't feel it. And so it's easy for you to bring it back. But the ones that felt it before, what are they going to do? Are they going to sit back and allow it to happen? What recourse do they have except what they have been taught? And that's violence. I'm coming to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, violence is not the answer. You must be born again. Born again means to understand that there is a better way of life. Whoa, boy, now in order for you to be born again, you got to want it. You got to want it. You got to see things and things hurt you, just like it's hurting those that you see going through the pain. You're going to have to want deep down inside to make life better, not just for you, but for those around you, for those that you see hurting. You're going to have to want that with a passion, because it is the pure in heart that will see righteousness. And it is those who act according to what you've been seen or been shown that allows the change. So I'm looking at America, and I know we're going through some suffering. I hear white people talking. I hear black people talking. I hear the arguments. And now I must tell you, I'm so sick of hearing it. It is nothing but over. Oh, it never quits. All day, all night. Nothing nice to be said, because this is where America is. I'm tired. I don't want to hear it. All I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is tell you what I've been given to tell you. Now, right now, I was given a message. I went across this country, and I shared that message with you. It's the same message that I just got through sharing with you. I did that for a few years. I did some of that in the Philippines. I did some of it in Japan when I was over in the military. And I ended up doing some stuff, ladies and gentlemen, that would reflect how I felt about this information that I give you. I've committed crimes trying to get your attention because you seem to be so deaf and blind. I've gone to jail, I've gone to prison trying to get your attention, and I still haven't gotten your attention. I got this wonderful news. I ran for president of the United States, and I asked you, the people, I asked the church, I asked everybody to listen to God and pay some attention to the message that I brought. Don't worry about I'm a black man from Mississippi, from the cotton fields, chopping and picking cotton and picking cucumbers. I still went to school, but that is not what saved me. What saved me was a magical power, invisible power, that made me understand and see that what was necessarily going on in this world had nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with mankind. The real stuff, the pain and suffering, yes, that's all about you. But the love and joy is about a power that you can't see. And it is required that you do see it from some source. Now, you're going to go to church a few days from now, and I'm getting ready to wrap this up. I know some of you are bored to death. You're getting ready to go to church in a couple of days. And in those times when you're going to be sitting up there talking about tithes and offering and paying it and celebrating that your group, the Republicans, beat out some Democrats, when you're sitting there enjoying the defeat of America, nobody's going to tell you that it is incumbent upon those who really know God to stand up and represent God and not compromise. It is incumbent upon those of you who know God, who recognize that there are people out there who do not have homes, who are in the streets living in. It is incumbent upon you. It is required that you say no more. We're going to end this. Now, how are you going to end it? You're not going to fight. You're just going to expose the evilness of the absence of this kind of love by putting your life on the line, to stand up and challenge the system and say that you are not going to put up with it, and that they want you to put up with this. They're going to have to do what dictators do to people who reject their rule, because you are rejecting their rule in spite of what they will do to you for the benefit of a higher rule. And what is that rule? That is the rule of love. That is the rule of righteousness. That is the rule that brings peace ultimately. Oh, when people feel threatened that their money gone, their God is taken away, Oh, brother, you haven't seen anything yet. I saw a picture on the media today of China. It seemed like China had a whole state. Can you imagine the circumferences of a state? Looked like it just filled with military armaments. I guess that's why the people starving. What they want to do, blow up the world? Well, that's what man is doing. They're preparing themselves to blow up the world to be God. The man who got the highest power, who've invested what they have called God, money, into maintaining their power by being able to destroy the whole earth. This is what they're pursuing. And you, the people of America, you, the people of the world, sitting back like a puppy, sitting down the hallway waiting for you to take them for a walk, or to give them some water, or to hug them, or abuse them. It's unbelievable that we human beings have been made so docile as this. But let me tell you, the most important thing of it is this, that you can look around you and everything I just got through saying about this nation and around the world, you can verify it. And the things that I got offering to you, you can ask yourself, question yourself, would you want it? Do you want it? If you could, would? Do you want? Can you? And if you think for one moment that you can and then try it, you would see the evidence of its growth by your power. And by the love of God, it would generate, and like these trees out here grow, during their seasons, the leaves come, the leaves go. The grass comes and it shines and it goes. But it comes back again, as beautiful as before. I'm offering you, ladies and gentlemen, a chance to try God and stop putting your faith in politics. Politics is designed to keep you away from God. Now, don't ban me. It is the duty and responsibility of ones that are connected with truth to share it whether you like it or not. And I'm sharing with you the absolute truth. Today, all of the pain and suffering that I see people going through, that I hear, I know every last one of us could have gotten up this morning smiling and as excited. And this could have been one of the greatest days of your life. Because tomorrow, if you're living, is going to be just as good or better. Why? Because you're dealing with the right stuff. This is the kind of thing I'm telling you about, ladies and gentlemen. Forget this hell we living in. Change the stuff. How is it that you can have people so vulnerable that they can meet down in Dallas, Texas? I mean, perhaps by the thousands, following some lie that John Kennedy Jr. is going to appear, that his father is going to appear, and they're going to wrap in with Donald Trump and bring him back in 24. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Look, for you Christians, if you can change your heart and really love God, for you Muslims, if you could change your heart and really love Allah, and for those of you who got another, could take that as a brother and change your heart, you can really make this a beautiful thing. You could really make this a beautiful thing. But right now, I say no more. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this is played more than 2 times. See, because I'm going to play it twice, just to check to see if anybody else played it. I hope it's more than 2. Until next time, goodbye.